Dave here, and I am talking about my storyboarding process and getting my staging set up in Blender for my upcoming short film that I will be shooting in June. So at this point, all I'm doing, and I'm going to go through a lot of stuff here. I will put links in the description so that you have access to all these things, but I've grabbed a bunch of stuff from Blend Swap, so those are all my props and my furniture, all of them being free, drop them into my file, and I've also grabbed some character meshes here as well from Mixamo, and I'm also using the Mixamo add-in to be able to add rigs to these characters. So what I need for this, it's essentially two guys playing video games in an apartment, and one of the guy's girlfriends shows up and it's a, zombie apocalypse. So I have my three characters plus I have my zombie. For whatever reason, she's not working properly. You can see the bones in that character are not pointed in the right direction. So when I automatically add the mesh, things go a little sideways. Rather than screw around with it, rather than try to figure it out, I delete it. I go back to Mixamo. I look for a zombie character, find one that I think is appropriate, and once I've got that character, I just download them, drop them into my file, add the rig, and we're good to go again. I also realize that I'm missing a prop at this point, so I go over to Blend Swap again, search for a hammer, find a ball peen hammer that looks great, save it, pop it open so that I can make sure that it's set up in a way that I want it to be set up so that I can drop it into my file and be able to work with it effortlessly. Drop it in, we're good to keep moving forward. So, because of the way this is set up, the couch is kind of an integral part of the staging. Throw the couch at the middle of the scene here and start working from that point on. Scale the couch up a little bit, get my character in, and then try to get my character to scale to the couch, because at this point they're at different scales, right? My character should be able to sit on the couch all the way at the back of the couch and have their knees be sitting appropriately over the edge of the cushion. And that's what I'm trying to get to here. This character is supposed to be fairly laid back. They're supposed to be leaned back into the couch. They're playing video games. This is effortless for them. It takes nothing in terms of focus or energy. They're just able to kind of blast through it. I just created a cylinder there. This is one of the few cases where I'm actually adding my own stuff into the scene. In this case, it is representative. It is meant to represent a footstool. I want a small footstool for this character because there's a shot that I wanted to try out that I thought might be interesting. And this is a great way to try out these shots. You create the elements that you need, you put them in the order that you need them to, and you see if the shot works. It's way better to do it this way than to do it during the day and have to do a whole setup and then stop everything and then try it and go, oh, I guess that didn't work. I guess we should just go back to the shot list. Not great, right? So I put this footstool here to get him all set up. So you can see it took me a little while there to get the character into a position that I was comfortable with. I'm not very good at this. It takes me a fair amount of time to get through those things, but I get decent results out of it that are representative of what I'm trying to do. So that character is fundamentally done. I've just created the second thing that I'm going to create this whole time, which is a cube that I'm squishing down to represent the TV. Put it basically in the size and space that I need it to, add a black shading to it so that I know, hey, that's the TV. It's distinguished from the wall when I put a wall there. And that's pretty much done. I can fail a whole bunch of times trying to duplicate this controller because I'm not quite sure what I need to do or how I need to do it. There's still a lot of experimentation going on at this point. Get the two characters out of the scene that don't need to be there right now and grab my second character here to try and get him on the couch too. And I realize there's a problem when I get here. I have scaled the couch and the first character independently of the second character. So I need to go back and get this first character into a T-pose, something that I can easily compare to my new character and get them scaled out appropriately. And the way that I do this is I just go and I clear all the rotations and movements on it, and then create a new frame, move that frame before the first frame to the 0 frame, and use that as my reference point to scale up my second character. And because I've got that, I can use that to scale up other characters as well, and you'll see that I do that a little bit later. So this character is supposed to be more intently focused on the game. They're leaned forward, they've got their elbows on their knees. This is intense for them. This is a challenge, this is competition. Takes me a little while, again, to get that character into a position that I like. It doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be representative. It needs to be something that gives me a strong visual aid as to how I want my character sitting and how I want my shots composed actually works. That's what I need to know. So at this point, I'm using Archimesh, and this will take up a disproportionate amount of time and end up getting nowhere. So Archimesh is an add-on in Blender that allows you to do architectural work. I have no idea how to use it, so I'm not blaming the add-on at this point. I'm blaming myself as the user for not knowing how to use it. But you'll see that I go through here several times and create a room, try to add a door, try to automatically cut the door out from the wall, and it just does not work for me. Multiple times this happens, so we will ignore that while that's going on. Okay, so I've just hidden a bunch of stuff because I realized that I needed to scale up my other two characters. Put them back to that 0 frame T-pose, scale them up really quick, really simple, move those characters out of the way. And here comes the failure. Try to set the door. Looks like it should work. Open the door, and the wall's still there. No idea why. Again, user error. Almost certainly. I actually try to cut the door out myself and it still just doesn't work the way that I expected it to. So delete it all. I run through this again just to try it out and see if I can get it to work. And I have no luck again. So the third piece that I actually model here, I talked about how I modeled the footstool and the TV, and I just used basic primitives with a little bit of, scaling on them in various directions to get them where I need them to. The only other thing that I actually model in here is I create planes to make my own walls. And that's it. And all I'm doing is copying the walls that I have set up here. I'm not doing anything special. I am scaling planes to the same size as the walls that are already in position. So yeah, I end up deleting a whole bunch of stuff, make sure that ball peen hammer continues to stay as a part of the scene. I put it in her hand so I wouldn't forget about it later. Delete a whole bunch of stuff here. There's my first plane. So we'll say that that's the north wall of this apartment. Get that in there. Scale it into place, duplicate it, pull it down to the south wall. There we go. Duplicate it again, rotate it 90 degrees. I think I put it as my east wall first. East wall first? Yeah, east wall first. And then duplicate it again. There's my west wall. I really like this setup because what it does is it allows me to hide walls. So if I need to get a better view of what's going on, I'll do the same thing with the ceiling and the floor. I'll make those all separate planes so I can just hide whatever I want, whenever I want, and work on them. I'm going to try and create a door here again. And the reason that I'm going to try to create a door is because it's just so easy to do with Archimesh. And I know when I'm working on the plane that I will be able to cut out that door frame myself. So I'm using my character as kind of a reference point to get that door scaled. Is it perfect? No, it's probably a little too short. But it's representative. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be roughly in the right spot, roughly the right size to get things done. Put in my camera, and now that I've got my camera, I can drop into my camera view and start moving things around and trying to frame my shots. So I will move into the camera right there, and then this is just me playing with the camera a little bit, move things around, get them where I need them to, and then frame something up. So here's that shot that I wanted to test out. I wanted some wide angle shot that had his foot in the middle of the frame, separating the two, and then having the door on the far right. And I wanted to see if that shot works. Does it work? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I've got the flexibility to go through and just move that around and play with it to try to get something that I like. So you'll see I move off to the side and I set up a basic shot from the side on them. And then as we get to the end, which is coming up very shortly here, I will get a basic medium 2 shot of the two of them. And I can go and I can create as many of these as I want using whatever focal lengths I want for the lens. Right now I'm on 18mm, but for that last shot, I will switch it over to 50. And I can just create as many of those in series as I want. I can test out and I can play all day long. So there is an hour of work to get this set up. But once it's set up, unlimited movement.